The Emerald Island of the Andaman and Nicobar, located in the Bay of Bengal and in the Andaman Sea, is one of the most uniquely rich biodiverse area within the boundaries of Indian nation state, and is also one of the place where we find various particularly vulnerable tribal groups or PTGs that have been identified as the Great Andamanis of the Strait Island, Ongis of the Little Andaman, Jarvas of the South and Middle Andaman, Sentinelese of the Sentinel Island, and the Champagnes of Great Nicobar. The Great Andamanis were once the largest in population amongst the various tribes inhabiting the Andaman Islands. Their estimated population in 1789 was 10,000. By 1901, their number has decreased to 625, and by 1969, their number has reduced to 19. According to the census 1971, only 24 of them were around, but by 1999 their number decreased to 41. The administration is doing its best to protect and preserve this tribe. These tribals have been rehabilitated in a small island called the Strait Island. The Great Andamanis were foragers. Today they eat rice, dal, chapati and other modern food items. They can cook food using spices. At times they still go hunting and gathering. Their traditional diet contains fish, dugong, turtle eggs, crabs, roots, and tubers. They also eat pork, Andaman water monitor lizard, etc. As coastal people, they relish octopus, mollusks taken from the shell of marine animals like turban shell, scorpion shell, sundial, helmet, trochus, and screw shell, besides various types of crabs and fish. Lately, some of them have taken to cultivating vegetables and have also established poultry farms. They are vulnerable to communicable diseases besides unhealthy drinking habits acquired after contact with non-tribal, urban, dominant and advanced communities. Ongis are one of the main primitive tribes in India. They belong to the Negrito racial stock, and they have been relegated to the reservation at Dugong Creek in Little Andaman Island. They are semi-nomadic tribe and fully dependent on the food provided by nature. They have now experienced the impact of outsiders as efforts at befriending them and proved successful. They have been provided with permanent houses, food, clothes, medicine, etc. by the administration. They eat turtle, fish, roots and jackfruits. They have developed artistry and crafts. The Ongis can make canoes. A primary school has also been functioning at the Dugong Creek settlement of the Ongis. The population of this tribe is stable and is presently in and around 110. The famous Jarwa tribes, with an estimated population of 341, inhabit the western coasts of South and Middle Andaman Islands. They are leading their normal life of hunting and gathering. The Ministry of Home Affairs, Government of India, in consultation with the Ministry of Tribal Affairs and the Andaman and Nicobar administration, had finalized a policy on the Jarwa tribe of Andaman Islands on the basis of recommendations of experts in various fields. The policy was notified in December 2004 and is being implemented strictly to ensure protection and welfare of the Jarwas. In order to ensure a rich resource of forest-based traditional food like wild pig, turtle, honey and fish, etc., the Jarwa reserve area has been increased from 847 to 10,028 square kilometers. Exclusive marine resource base has also been increased by declaring the coastal water up to 5 km from high tide line as tribal reserves. Exclusive wards at Primary Health Center, Shunabad, Kadamtala and GB Pant Hospital, Port Blair for Jarwas have been provided, and such wards are declared as tribal reserves to prevent curious non-tribals from interacting with them. The Sentinelese are the inhabitants of the northern Sentinel Island. The area is about only 60 square kilometers. They are probably the world's only Paleolithic people surviving today without contact with any other group or community. They are considered as an offshoot of the Ongi Jarwa tribes, which have acquired a different identity due to their habituation in an isolated and have lost contact with the main tribes. The Sentinelese are extremely hostile and never leave their island. Very little is known about these hostile islanders. The Champagnes of the Great Nicobar, which is the largest among the Nicobar group of islands, are another tribe which is considered to be particularly vulnerable. Like the Nicobarese, they belong to the Mongoloid race. The Champagnes have two divisions. The smaller division being known as the Mama Champagnes. They inhabit areas very close to the coastal regions along the river valleys. They are extremely shy. They are quite intimate with the Nicobarese. The major group of Champagnes are hostile Champagnes living in Alexandra and Galatia River areas and also on the east coast of the area in the interior island. In the past, frequent attacks are believed to have been made on the Mawa Champagnes by the hostile Champagne. But now such hostility has stopped. It is probably because they have been largely reduced in their number due to various diseases. The Champagnes are victims of disease and physically very weak. With the establishment of the settlement of the Campbell Bay in Great Nicobar, Champagnes have been visiting the settlers and they are gradually shaking off their shyness and indifferent attitude towards civilized people. The Nicobarese is another group which are Austro-Asiatic speaking people of the Nicobar Island, a chain of islands in the Bay of Bengal north of Sumatra forming a part of the Union Territory of Andaman and Nicobar Islands. The Nicobar archipelago consists of 19 islands and only 12 of them are inhabited. The inhabited islands are Car Nicobar, Chora, Bompaka, Teresa, Nankauri, Pulomilo, Great Nicobar, Komorta, Kachal, Trinket, Kondul and Little Nicobar. The largest and male island is the Great Nicobar. The term Nicobarese refers to the dominant tribes of the Nicobar Island and are most significant tribal population in the Andaman and Nicobar Islands due to their large numbers and the very wide area they occupy as compared to all other Andaman and Nicobar tribes put together. Each island inhabitants have a specific name, but collectively they are known as the Nicobarese. They call themselves Holchu, which means friend. The life of the Nicobarese revolve around the nature, the socio-economic conditions of the people of the Nankauri Islands play an important role in the religious practices and social life of the Nicobarese community. The Nicobarese are headed by matriarchal chief. The first matriarchal chief of the Nicobarese were Islon, who married Mewalal, Tehsildar of Nankauri in 1941-42 and became the most influential person in the Nicobar Island. On the Nicobar Islands, men and women have approximate equal status. The women can choose their husbands and after marriage they can live together with either of the couple's parents. The Nicobarese men value women economically because they not only take care of household duties but tend to the plantations and gardens. The villages on the island consist of sporadically placed huts strewn about in designated areas. The huts are normally round with dome-shaped roofs. They are typically raised above the ground and have ladders that the residents pull up after they climb the huts at this particular part. The Nicobarese are considered to be the most successful group of indigenous people that inhabit in the Andaman and Nicobar Island, and they have been very successful in integrating with the modern society. Many of them have undergone modern education and higher studies and are taking important role in both in the local and regional politics, economy and societal development. Professor Suparna Shandal Mukherjee of Skill University suggested that it is quite sad to know that many of the primitive tribes or those who are particularly vulnerable are actually dying off across the time. There are many factors which has impacted. First one is contact with the outsider world that has spread diseases as well as conflicts starting from the colonial to the present day era. There has been infiltration of encroachment of the tribal areas by people from other communities that has encroached and survived there. Climate change and global warming has also significant impacts on the life and livelihood of these tribal communities. And furthermore, destruction of habitats, degradation of the quality of life together with the loss of livelihood for many of these people has impacted their life. She mentioned that it is interesting to note and very sad to suggest that we talk about biodiversity loss of single species of plants or animals, or different species across the world. But she emphasized that it is also important to recognize that people around the world are also getting extinct. Around 28 people are now recognized for the Great Andamanis to be surviving. These tribes, particularly the Andamanese, the Champagnes, Jarwas, Sentinelese and Ongis are almost extremely injured and have almost stretched in partially towards the threat of extinction. Hence, it is very important to protect the cultural, traditional heritage as well as the integrity of the tribes of the Emerald Islands of Andaman and Nicobar. Shoykot Kumar Basu, Bureau Report, Kalinga Chronicle TV.